Greetings, you porcine people. It's Rusty here. Today I'm playing Amnesia, a machine for pigs, which was not developed by Frictional Games. It was actually developed by The Chinese Room and published by Frictional Games. Now, you might have heard of Frictional Games and The Chinese Room. Frictional, of course, made the original Amnesia, The Dark Descent, which was an excellent horror game, kind of changed the face of horror gaming, in fact. And Chinese Room really didn't change the face of gaming, although their game did inspire the term walking simulator, because they of course created Dear Esther, which I have never played. It does not appeal to me in the slightest, but I have seen enough of it to know what it's about. It's an incredibly linear, story-driven game with next to no gameplay. In fact, some would argue it's not even a game. But they talked to Frictional Games at a con and said they had this idea for an Amnesia game set in the world. It was originally going to be a mod, but they expanded it to a whole game. So let's begin. So here we are in what I assume is London. And you might be wondering if this game is connected to Amnesia the Dark Descent in any way. Apparently it takes place in the same universe, but it's an indirect sequel, it's a different timeline. So
This way, Papa. Come and see.
this is a
Can we take it
unique
home?
story,
Yes, my darlings. Of course we can take
comparatively anyway. It's about a guy, I think his name, what is his name, Mordin? Which is you, he wakes up with amnesia, so there's a similarity, in a big mansion, and his kids are missing. And you learn through notes, because it's got notes in a journal like Amnesia, which occasionally gives you tips. You learn that his kids are missing, and that his wife has died. And you keep running across phones, which have messages from a guy that sounds suspiciously like your character. So whether that is him, in the same way that Daniel in Amnesia the Dark Descent left notes, is this him leaving voice messages for your player? And you're essentially trying to find your kids who keep appearing. I don't know if it's going to be metaphorical. That's apparently what Dear Esther was. It was a sort of nonsensical metaphor. Wasn't a straightforward story. But you're descending, essentially. You keep hearing messages about a machine. And it's very atmospheric. Same way Amnesia was. But Amnesia, the Dark Descent, I'm just going to refer to that as Amnesia. This is Pigs in the Machine or whatever. We'll just call it Pigs. So Amnesia started off very slow. It built tension. It was very atmospheric. You're uncovering this mystery at the same time. This, similarly, is atmospheric and starts off slow, but there's very little tension being built. I feel at the moment I'm just sort of wandering around and sort of experiencing a story. We sat here, I remember, we sat in our black and we mourned and we prayed and we bowed our heads. How I hated God then, how I spurned him. This is our Lord, this pig who robs me of my wife, and I refute his embrace. I will carve a new God for us all. Such madness, such a fool I was. If such blasphemous ravings had remained within me, I would be doomed. But even here I feel the machine throb beneath the flags, and I know my path awaits me. So yeah, the story is a lot about a machine as well. I don't know if this guy built it, but everything keeps shaking. That happens occasionally, like the ceiling or the ground will shake, and you assume it's the big machine whirring below. I've also caught visions of pigs, sort of humanoid pigs, and some of the notes have hinted at that. Nothing's attacked me yet, nothing's gone for me. I don't know what these pigs are. And there's no real madness, because Amnesia was about your character descending into madness, but also trying to overcome that madness. Whereas this, so far,
Your faith
here's some of the
shackles your vision,
messages. I'll let you
Professor.
listen to
It
this.
is an iron coffin that keeps you from grasping the future. We require a new deity, one of steam and the wheel, of magnetism and progress. The old god is nothing more than a lamed hog, spitting back offal at mankind.
So yeah, it's all metaphorical. The pig's gonna mean something else, I think, and the machines in it, maybe they're man. There was a note about Babbage, who had to do with the first computer, I think. So whether this machine is trying to be a computer. But there was a really pretentious little speech from the guy, I assume, about like animals rutting and stuff, and pigs, and I had no idea what he was going on about. I'm sure it was very clever though. But you see what I mean about atmosphere like this? This just feels very Amnesia. The only difference is I'm not scared at all. There's no building of tension. The music is very good. The imagery is nice. Like this, you think, oh, what is going on here with these pigs? But I haven't run into anyone. Like, if this is actually London, then where is everyone? There was also something about Jack the Ripper as well. Okay, that has to have done something. If you've ever played Amnesia, the physics in this game are very similar to that. To open doors, you have to pull or push on them. And you can pick up objects and rotate them and throw them. So in Amnesia, you had to hide in cupboards and stuff and quickly shut doors. In this, it's been pulling levers mainly. I haven't had to hide yet. In fact, this lantern, you had to manage your lantern and your health in Amnesia, but in Pigs, you don't. You don't have oil for the lantern, it just works permanently. So I just keep it on. It hasn't attracted unwanted attention. Because you had to avoid the enemies in Amnesia to avoid going insane, and to avoid them seeing you. That's why you had to turn your lantern off. But then that similarly drove you crazier. So you had to manage that. Whereas this, I haven't felt the need to turn it off at all. Even when I catch a glimpse of one of these pigmen. Because they don't attack. So I just feel like I'm walking about. And in the mansion I was just walking about until I stumbled upon the right way to go. It seems quite open. But I think it's still fairly linear. It is quite good in directing you the way you need to go as well. Twin candles bent to the will of the central saint, casting their light to the corners of the chapel. Father Jeremiah thought I could be trusted with the secret, but he is like all of the others. So the old priest has gone to the holding pens with his flock. He says he will enter into our world with them. Flesh shepherd indeed. Flesh shepherd. So, I don't know if your guy is like some experimenter. He's experimented on people. Turned them into pigs. Maybe he thinks pigs will make a good computer. There are a lot of doors that you can't even open. Or even interact with, which is a little annoying. Because it does mean I get lost occasionally. There's no map. But other than a sort of interesting story, I'm struggling to be as immersed as I was in Amnesia, where I wanted to uncover the mystery and I was terrified out of my mind. I'm not going to read this because that's too long. Read it in my own time, or you can pause it and read it if you want to. Yeah, I mean, Amnesia, I sort of had more direction. This, the only direction is go down. And as you can see, I'm already stuck. I assume I've got to activate this somehow. But it's not working. Okay, I found this candle. It was just on this shelf. I assume I've got to slot it into that gap. That's not fun. That's like hidden objects. Now, in Amnesia, there was a bit of backtracking. And occasionally you get lost. But his notes tended to point you in the exact direction you wanted to go. Whereas this, I just had to wander around until I found that. Really frustrating. And for whatever reason, that turned on the fire. Engine fires, the flames are stoked. I hear steam in the walls, vibrations upon the air. Children beckon me on. Cannot fail them. Yeah, you can. Annoying posh English kids. There's secret passages all over the place. And, oh, I've sunk into the ground because I was on the stairs. Yeah, it's all about descending. Is it a metaphor for hell, or because his wife died? Maybe his kids died as well. There was something about losing someone in childbirth, possibly, so... But then, sometimes you get these flashbacks, which is maybe like the amnesia going insane part, where he's talking as if he's talking to his kids.
Listen, Papa. Hold the egg to your ear. You can hear the sea.
Alright then, little buddy. I'll hold the egg to my ear. Oh, my light's going off. So, in Amnesia, you'd possibly have a patrolling monster here. Right, yeah, it's the talk of putting people in pens and stuff. The story is good. It's interesting. I want to find out more. But it's told in such a linear way. And I don't know if any of it's real. And you could say, well, Amnesia was like that because it was, ooh, he's descending into madness. But if there's someone in there, why can't I remove the sheet and talk to them? I hate that kind of metaphorical. I hate it when it's so vague as like nothing is real. Okay, well there you saw a pig. If I turn my light off, it's completely dark though. I'm starting to think maybe the enemies can't even hurt me. There doesn't appear to be a failure state, which is disappointing. Because while I've set myself up with headphones, and I've got the sound fairly high up for the recording, and it's night time while I'm playing, I'm not feeling that same tension, that build up. It's just remained the same. It's just got a nice atmosphere. Like, visually this lighting is pretty good. I mean, it's very dated texture wise and stuff. It doesn't look good in most regards. But it sets the mood. But I'm not feeling the tension or fear at all. I feel like I'm just following this story. And there's too much wandering around, trying to find where I'm going. Like, a map would be handy. Because this is just like a maze. Oh, hello, someone in there. No one in there. Now I have no idea where I'm going. Oh. Okay, he did see me. What happens now? He's right there. So you can die. There is a failure state. But for some reason I don't feel scared. It's because I could barely see him, I think. And, oh, okay. Am I in prison? Oh, maybe that had to happen. Oh, that's disappointing. That does happen once in Amnesia. If you remember the scariest bit, if you've ever played Amnesia, it's an underwater bit. And the scary thing about it is, the thing there is unknown, and you have to do fairly awkward jumping, and you have to do it quite quickly, and it's just so unexpected because you go into the area and it's just a normal sort of cellar, you think, but then all of a sudden water just appears and you can hear this thing splashing about, and it's terrifying. Whereas here this is a bit frustrating, really. I don't know where I'm going, and I have to turn my light off so That will be found, yet I leave you this. Right. Okay, what have you left me? Nothing. I need to get down somehow. There we go, there's some stairs. Or did I come up the stairs? I think I came up, didn't I? How frustrating. So the pig never came back. So maybe that was a have to fail kind of thing. Unless that happens every time you get caught. You can't be killed, which does remove some of the fear. You've got to get your mind in the right state to play these games. Even Amnesia, if you play that in the day, if you just realise that all the enemies are doing is killing you, you can just play again. You're probably not going to find it that scary, especially if you haven't got headphones on, maybe you got the sound low. You've got to put yourself in the right mood, because it's not a jump scare kind of game. It's not a jump scare kind of fear. It's a slow tension building fear. It gets in your head if you let it. Maybe commentating takes that away a bit, but I have a feeling if I was playing Amnesia and I was on that archive level, I would be incredibly tense right now. Whereas I'm not here. I'm a little intrigued, but that's it. I kind of don't think there's going to be that fear as well. I don't think there's going to be an archive level. There's not going to be monsters that I've got to be scared of. Because that was just frustrating. I don't think I could get past it. But I've had this game sitting here waiting. I think I was put off because it was the Chinese room. And I loved Amnesia so much that I was kind of disappointed it was continued by a company who'd made the first proper walking sim. And I thought, is that going to remove some of the gameplay elements? Is that going to remove the horror? Is it just going to be this kind of pretentious, nonsensical story? One thing I will say is the music is really nice. Just randomly happens. The music and the lighting. Maybe he killed his kids. Maybe they got stuck in a machine. This is also one of those games where if the ending is terrible, the explanation is god-awful, you'll probably end up hating it. At least I know I will, because that's the kind of person I am. So it needs to be satisfying.
They would shackle the masses to a wheel and turn it till their backs break. All for that opiate, the lure of profit. These fools who lackey them, these priests, these officials, this government. They make pigs of us all.
But what solution, my dear man? How to break a cycle? You cannot simply remove the promise of a better world for these unfortunates. In the workhouses, in the orphanages, the belief in heaven is surely the only succor one can find.
We do not need to wait. We can bring forth paradise now.
So is this a religion versus science metaphor?
Sacrifice, we can hold the apocalypse. With
Perhaps.
small sacrifice, we can
Getting
free
quite
our
slow
souls
frame rate at the
to
moment.
paradise now.
The thing is, it just all seems... It seems very vague. Whatever point they're trying to get across. Yeah, there you go, there's machines shaking. So that's happened quite a lot. I don't know if it's meant to be jump scary, Right. Is this another instance of an enemy that can get me? Or was that just a sort of brief glimpse of one? Because that's happened a few times as well. I don't know, let's put my light back on. Have a look. But you've got to have that threat of death to increase the fear as well. Yeah, see, he's gone. It's such a shame. Because there's something good here. And the setting is different enough. And the team who created it, the writing is different enough that if they'd had the horror elements in the same way that Amnesia had, and they'd worked on the puzzles, there wasn't as much backtracking, then it could have been a really great thing. Now, I've yet to check out Soma, which is developed by Frictional Games. I guess they were developing that, which is why they didn't have time for this. And then you've got things like Outlast as well. And Resident Evil also has taken the direction of Amnesia now. It had such a big influence on the horror genre. While Resident Evil 6 was busy trying to homogenize its gameplay and appeal to everyone, turning it into action schlock, Amnesia was sort of setting the trend. Unfortunately, it's gone a bit backwards since then, in terms of the amount of games that are released that are just god-awful, either based on an Amnesia type of horror or a Slender type of horror. I think that's had a bigger negative effect than Amnesia had. Because if you think of a lot of the games that are considered good horror games, you've got you've got Outlast, the new Resident Evil, and things like that, which took this sort of first-person, no weapons thing that Amnesia did. And this does it as well. And Amnesia had these crap puzzles as well, but it also had the fear factor. It really got inside you and made you nervous. This so far, not. And it's just frustrating me now. I keep having to cut away. Okay, I just had to turn on all the coal engines. So it's more just running around trying to find coal in the dark. And I assume I can just turn these levers now. Which will do something. Which has turned all the lights out. Well, that is not good, is it? And now the lights are stuck. It runs quite badly for an old game. It's another thing I'll say. Whenever there's like excessive movement, it's a bit odd, because if you recall Dear Esther, one of the things people said about it was that it was incredibly visually stunning, and it was a good looking game. It was kind of like a scenic tour of a sort of Scottish island with this pretentious story going on in the background. Right, is this a secret passage? No, it's a pointless passage. Don't you just love it when games do that? You think you're clever because you found like a little secret, but oh no, it was there for no reason. Thanks, game. Now this is a short game, so I'm going to stop it soon. And that's probably the reason I will finish it. Because I've got a sneaking suspicion that the gameplay... Oh, has he spotted me? the gameplay and the story are going to disappoint me. But this is sort of really hard compared to Amnesia, where it didn't turn it pitch black and eventually the monster would bugger off. Like, how are you meant to sneak past it if you can't see a bloody thing? Right, I think I'm past it. And also, if you don't know where you're going, everything looks the same in a factory. Like, I don't like the design of this place at all. I mean, this could be a room I've already been in, for all I know. So you get lost a lot. Avoiding enemies in an area you're lost in is not fun. Not to me. Oh, there he is again. So if I just stay here, maybe I need to get caught again. Oh, I thought he'd got me there. Has he? Maybe they're just really slow. No, they're fast. Well, there he is. There's Pigman. Is he gonna kill me? Let's just see. The Pigman looks quite cool. I'm not scared though. Let's turn my light off. Can't see me now, can you, Pigman? Oh no, you did. You get a lot of health as well. So, oh, there's that blinding light again. Yes, it's just put me in prison, has it again? Yeah, I'm on top of some boxes. I mean, that just might have reloaded a save, to be fair, but... if the fear's gone on me not having to do it again... yeah, this is a disappointing sequel. Albeit it's not from the same team. I would recommend you play the other Amnesia over this, or something like Outlast, or Resident Evil 7. There's no reason to play this anymore. It doesn't do anything good enough in horror terms, or in story terms, to be fair, to warrant playing. And I'm just not finding the pig scary. This area is so annoyingly samey to look at, and I don't have a map or anything, that I'm just getting annoyed with it. And that's the thing with Amnesia. Say the scariest moment, the archive. There were others, but there was a very clear path there. Fair enough, you had to work out the puzzle. But once you knew what you had to do, and it was the fear that you would mess it up and be killed by this thing you couldn't see. And you had to time these jumps. And it's just fantastic at building that tension. So yeah, try that out instead if you haven't. Maybe play this if you're intrigued by story or atmosphere. There's not that sheer panic either. You have to run from an enemy, try and find somewhere to hide. There's more annoyance. And if you are hiding, but without the fear. Sort of for non-horror fans, really. You get a sense that the Chinese Room are a development company that likes to tell a story and kind of sees the gameplay as getting in the way of them telling that story. But dear Esther, you could just watch someone play through that. You don't need to play it yourself to experience the story. Your input doesn't directly affect it. Doesn't matter. Anyway, I'll probably be playing a few more horror games that I've left unplayed on Steam because it's Halloween. Not that that's a holiday I care about. I think it's a very American thing, or a young person's thing, but it's a thing people seem to do, isn't it, on YouTube? And the youngsters, they're all for taking American culture. So yeah, expect more spooky games like this one. I'll see you next time. Bye!